Abandoned at home alone for 3 days. This incredible girl discovered a heartwarming secret. Emma stared at the fridge, her heart sinking like a stone. The light from the bulb buzzed overhead, illuminating shelves nearly bereft of food. There were a few limp veggies, a half-full jar of mustard, and a couple of cans from last summer's tomato harvest. It was her 3rd day alone, and the silence pressed down on her as if the walls themselves were closing in. Her mother, chasing a fleeting job opportunity, had promised to come back soon. But as the emptiness echoed in the rooms they once filled with laughter, she wondered what soon really meant. Feeling the weight of loneliness, Emma trudged up to the attic, the place where forgotten memories lay in dust. Hunched under the slanted ceiling, she rummaged through old boxes until her fingers brushed against something smooth, an old leather journal. Curiosity piqued, she opened it, and her grandfather's neat handwriting spilled onto the pages, recounting adventures from days long gone. With every entry she read, the stories of her brave World War II veteran grandfather came alive. His words shimmered with resilience, loyalty, and the unbreakable bonds of family. As she flipped through the pages filled with her grandfather's heartfelt reflections, Emma started to feel a flicker of hope ignite within her. She could almost hear his voice. The strength he wrote about became her own. She closed her eyes, imagining him beside her, saying, "You can weather any storm, Emma." The thought made the corners of her mouth lift, but just as quickly faded when she remembered how alone she truly felt. Meanwhile, Mrs. Thompson, her elderly neighbor, noticed the silence coming from Emma's house. Normally filled with children's laughter, it had become a place of eerie stillness. She heard the whispers about Emma's family speculations that clawed at the heart of the community. But as she watched the girl alone day after day, concern brushed away judgment. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As kindness from her neighbors sprinkled in slowly batches of cookies, help with chores, Emma's heart began to swell. She found courage blooming within her, transforming her isolation into connections. With each act of support, she learned that asking for help didn't mean weakness. It was strength, woven from the threads of community spirit. But as she delved deeper into her grandfather's journal, a surprising secret unveiled itself, a connection to Mrs. Thompson that twisted and turned through family lore. The revelation threatened to explode the gentle world Emma had started to build. Torn between her mother and this unearthing, she found herself standing at a crossroads, heart racing with confusion and anticipation. Just when she thought she had her footing, her mother burst through the door, eyes burdened with worry and a heart heavy from newfound responsibilities. Emma's world hung in balance, pulses thrumming in anxious anticipation of whether love, loyalty, and the truths of the past could mend or break their fragile bond. Would they embrace the new web of connection created, or would unearthing family secrets shatter their delicate foundation? Emma's heart raced at the sight of her mother, Sarah, standing before her, the unkempt hair and wrinkled clothes revealing a woman bearing the weight of the world. Sarah's eyes flicked to the journal resting on the table, and a look of recognition crossed her face. Emma instinctively closed the book as if shutting the door on secrets better left untouched. "Mama?" Emma's voice trembled, unsure of the distance that had grown between them. "You came back." Sarah took a hesitant step forward, her eyes glistening with emotion. I didn't mean to leave you alone like this, sweetheart. I thought I'd be back sooner." Emma inhaled deeply, the scent of her mother's familiar perfume mixed with the musty air of the attic triggering a whirlpool of memories. But there were new worries now, new fears dancing in her mind. "I found Grandpa's journal. It says something about Mrs. Thompson." The mention of her neighbor made Sarah stiffen. "Aren't you hungry? Let us get you something to eat," she said, steering the conversation away. Emma felt a twinge of frustration. But it's important. Talks about family history. You always said to never forget our roots. Her mother sighed, the weight of unspoken words settling between them like a thick fog. Some things are better left in the past, Emma. We have enough to deal with now. But why? Emma's cheeks flushed with the urgency of her emotions. What if it means I'm not alone anymore? Sarah's gaze dropped to the floor, and her silence felt like an avalanche, burying them both under the ice of years gone by. It's complicated. Complicated? Emma protested, shaking her head. For 3 days it was just me, Mom. Me and my thoughts. But now, after everything I read, I feel like I'm starting to understand our family better. I'm not afraid anymore. As the words tumbled out, Sarah turned, a flicker of something igniting behind her weary eyes. You really think so? I do. Grandpa wrote about courage and resilience. He faced worse than this, Emma said, her voice growing stronger. If he could handle that, why can't we handle whatever this is? In that moment, Sarah seemed to crumble, the resolve in her facade fading, exposing the vulnerable mother beneath. Because sometimes facing the past means confronting the losses we've buried deep. It's not easy, Emma. Emma stepped closer, the distance between them shrinking. We can do it together, Mom. I don't want to be alone in this, in anything, really. For the first time in days, Emma saw her mother's shoulders drop, the tension releasing like steam from a boiling pot. All right, Sarah whispered, her voice trembling. Let us talk about it. But we have to be prepared for the truths that may come, especially about Mrs. Thompson. Emma felt a surge of hope flooding through her. It was more than just conversation, it was connection. A bridge spanning the gaps they'd had for too long. With the daunting revelation of family intertwining, a sense of belonging began to glow within her. As they sat down together to unravel the threads of the past, knocking came at the door, interrupting their fragile moment. Emma felt her heart leap. What now? Was it another neighbor? Or perhaps something more? Torn between the warmth of the future and uncertainty, she exchanged a knowing look with her mother, who stood on the other side of the door holding the power to reshape their lives forever. Would this mystery bring answers or leave them even more tangled in their family web? Emma held her breath, glancing at her mother, who was caught between her instinct to run and her desire to stay. The knocking persisted, a rhythmic reminder that their moment of revelation was hanging by a thread. Should I get it? Emma asked, her voice barely above a whisper, as if raising it might shatter this fragile space between them. Sarah nodded, her forehead creased with worry. Be careful. Emma opened the door, the hinges creaking as it swung wide. Standing on the threshold was a figure wrapped in a coat, their breath visible in the cold air. It was Mrs. Thompson, her neighbor, looking different from the memories Emma had of her. The vibrant woman who used to bring cookies was replaced by someone who now seemed fragile and worn. Hello, Emma, Mrs. Thompson said, her voice a mixture of kindness and hesitation. I hope I'm not interrupting. I came to check on you and your mother. Emma's heart raced. She glanced back at her mother, who had taken a step closer, her expression a blend of apprehension and curiosity. It's fine, Mrs. Thompson. We were just talking. The neighbor's eyes darted between them. Good. I was afraid something might be wrong. I heard some commotion earlier. Emma exchanged a cautious look with her mother before gesturing for Mrs. Thompson to come in. You're welcome to join us. As Mrs. Thompson stepped inside the attic, the chill of the outside world followed her, bringing a sense of intrigue. Emma motioned to the table where the journal lay, a portal into their past. Emma found something important, Sarah interjected, her voice steadying just a bit. It's about our family history. Mrs. Thompson frowned slightly, a flicker of recognition dancing across her features. Oh, family history can be a tangled web. Are you sure you're ready to hear it? We are, Emma replied, her resolve shining through the unease. We want to know everything. With a resigned sigh, Mrs. Thompson settled into a chair, her gaze turning inward for a moment. Your grandfather was a remarkable man. He believed in keeping family close, even when things got tough. I owe him quite a lot for my own journey. Emma leaned forward, intrigued. What do you mean? I wasn't always part of this community. I moved here for a fresh start, and it was your grandfather who reached out to me when I needed it most. He believed everyone deserved a place to belong. Mrs. Thompson shared, her voice thick with emotion. Emma felt a tremor of excitement. Does that mean you knew secrets about our family? Mrs. Thompson hesitated, the weight of silence deepening. There are things I have kept quiet, but maybe it's time the truth came to light. Your family's past, especially with mine intertwined in ways you haven't imagined. Sarah blinked rapidly, processing the sudden turn. What do you mean? The tension in the air shifted, filled with both fear and hope. Emma's heart raced, ready to uncover what had been shrouded in mystery for far too long. Maybe talking about those secrets could help us all. Mrs. Thompson offered a tentative smile, but her eyes glistened with the weight of untold stories. I think it's time to set the record straight. Emma inhaled deeply. They had stepped into dangerous territory, but she was certain this could be a breakthrough, a chance to mend the tattered threads of their lives. As she looked to her mother, she saw that familiar flicker of determination. But as they leaned in, something outside the attic caught her eye. A shadow passed by the window, dark and swift, leaving Emma with a chill. Was someone watching? The questions hung in the air, tantalizing and terrifying. What secrets were about to surface? And who else might be lingering in the shadows? Emma's heart pounded in her chest as she tried to shake off the unease from the shadow. She forced herself to focus on Mrs. Thompson, but couldn't help scanning the window again. The winter twilight blurred the world outside, making it hard to see. Was it just her imagination? Emma? Mrs. Thompson's gentle voice broke through her worries. Are you all right? Emma nodded, swallowing the rising tide of anxiety. Yeah, I just thought I saw something outside. It's probably nothing. Or everything, Sarah replied quietly. Her eyes darted toward the window, a hint of concern crossing her features. Mrs. Thompson shifted in her seat, drawing attention back to the journal on the table. It might be best to focus on what's in front of us. Secrets can be both illuminating and painful. Are you ready to dive in? Emma exchanged a glance with her mother, whose expression was now a mix of fear and resolve. We can handle it, Emma said firmly. We're ready to hear whatever you have to say. Taking a deep breath, Mrs. Thompson opened the journal, flipping it to a worn page. This was your grandfather's. He wrote often about family, love, and loss. She pointed to an entry dated many years ago. Here he mentions a family rift and an unspoken truth. That's what I was afraid to talk about. Why would he write about a rift? Sarah asked, her voice trembling slightly. She reached for Emma's hand, squeezing it for strength. It involved me, the woman who became my mother, Mrs. Thompson admitted, her voice dropping to a whisper. She was entangled in a conflict that divided families. Your grandfather helped me escape that world, but he knew it would come back to haunt us. Emma leaned forward, the gravity of the conversation drawing her in deeper. What kind of conflict? Mrs. Thompson hesitated again, pulling her coat tighter around her. There were accusations, misunderstandings. Your family thought my mother had betrayed them, but in truth it was all a terrible mistake. As she spoke, tears welled in her eyes. Emma could see the pain etched on her neighbor's face. This wasn't just about secrets. This was about lives changed forever by a single mistake. Emma wanted to reach out, comfort her, but her own feelings surged like a storm. So we're connected to you in this pain? Yes, Mrs. Thompson replied, her voice shaky. And it's time for both our families to face what happened. Holding on to the past only hurt us all. Sarah's grip tightened around Emma's hand. What do we do now? Mrs. Thompson wiped her eyes, suddenly determined. We must confront the truth. There are connections to be made, stories to share. But it will require courage and honesty. Are you willing? Emma's stomach nodded. She could see the path ahead, an uncomfortable journey to uncover a painful past. But wasn't that worth exploring? Would the act of uncovering these truths heal the wounds that formed between their families? Together, we can find a way through, Emma decided, looking into her mother's eyes for support. We'll face whatever is out there. Before Mrs. Thompson could respond, a rustling noise broke the stillness. Emma jerked her head toward the window again. The shadow was back, a figure standing just beyond the glass, cloaked in darkness. "Who is that?" Emma gasped, her heart pounding even harder this time. Mrs. Thompson's eyes widened in terror. "We need to find out." Suddenly, the air felt electric, thick with a new tension. What danger lurked outside? What would they discover if they dared to learn more? Emma could feel the urgency pulse around them, as if the answers they sought might also bring unthinkable consequences. She glanced at her mother, who now held her gaze steady, and felt a rush of determination. But who had come to their doorstep, and what truths awaited in the shadows? Emma stood frozen, staring at the figure outside. The dim light made it hard to distinguish shadow from substance. Her heart raced, pounding against her ribs as she weighed the options. "Maybe we should call for help?" Sarah suggested, her voice trembling. "No," Mrs. Thompson interjected, firm yet frightened. "If it's someone from our past, we can't alert them that we know. We have to handle this ourselves." Emma could feel an unsettling mix of fear and curiosity pushing her forward, as if some unseen force compelled her to discover the truth. "What if they mean no harm?" she said, her voice barely above a whisper. Mrs. Thompson nodded slowly, contemplating the possibilities. "We need to approach with caution and clarity. Let us look together." Emma caught a glimpse of her reflection in the window-wide eyes, pale skin. The girl staring back felt like a stranger wrapped in uncertainty. As her mother squeezed her hand, Emma's resolve hardened. They could face this together. "Let us go," Emma said, mustering a bravery that surprised even herself. The three of them moved toward the door, their steps heavy with dread. Mrs. Thompson glanced back at her journal, then positioned herself at the front. "Stay close," she instructed, a quiet authority behind her calm demeanor. Emma and Sarah mirrored each other, both breathing heavily, as they stepped outside into the biting winter air. Visibility was grim, but the figure stood still, almost waiting for their approach. As they got closer, Emma could make out details. A silhouette of a man with a heavy coat, his breath visible in puffs against the cold air. Her heartbeat crashed in her ears with each step. "Who are you?" Emma called out, her voice steadying surprisingly. The figure shifted, and finally he turned to face them. "Emma, is that you?" he asked, voice muffled and far too familiar. Emma's breath hitched. "Do I know you?" The man took a step forward, revealing eyes she knew all too well. It was her estranged uncle, the one her mother rarely spoke about. The silence in her mother's eyes echoed the weight of years lost. "What are you doing here?" Sarah whispered, fierce protectiveness warming her tone. "I came to find the truth," he said, looking directly at Mrs. Thompson. His voice trembled, filled with an urgency that resonated with Emma. "It's time we all talked. The past is burdening us, it's time for it to be freed." Mrs. Thompson stepped forward, her composure faltering only slightly. "You shouldn't have come here. I have to," he insisted. "You don't understand. This is bigger than us. Your father knew things, Emma." The cool air thickened as every word hung heavily between them. The shocking revelation sent chills running down Emma's spine. Every question she had, every shadow she feared, seemed to beckon for answers. "Bigger than us?" Emma echoed, her heart racing. "What do you mean?" Before he could respond, an unfamiliar noise broke the tension, rustling and cracking from the forest nearby. Emma's pulse raced once more. It felt like shadows were coiling around them, weaving tight around fears and secrets. "Now isn't a good time," Mrs. Thompson said nervously, glancing toward the woods. "We need to go inside before wait." Emma interrupted, feeling a strange pull toward the sound. What's happening in there? The forest felt alive, filled with untold stories and hidden truths waiting to emerge. But as she turned her head, a sudden gust of wind swept through, carrying with it a whisper soft yet clear, almost beckoning. "What's out there?" Emma thought, her curiosity battling against the fear that held her back. She felt the weight of her mother's hand tighten around hers, a silent plea for safety. This was uncharted territory, and Emma had just stepped off the edge, caught between past shadows and new revelations. What awaited them in the darkened woods? Would they dare to cross that boundary to uncover the truth? Emma's heart raced with anticipation and dread as the night closed in around them. The rustling from the forest grew louder, each sound pulling at Emma's heart. Shadows danced among the trees, sending shivers down her spine. She could almost hear the whispers of secrets waiting to be uncovered. "Emma, we should really go back," Sarah urged, her voice low, laced with urgency. "This feels wrong." But something inside Emma urged her forward. Every instinct was telling her that whatever was out there could answer the questions clouding her mind. Why had her uncle returned? What did he mean about her father? "Just a little closer," Emma whispered, and she took a few tentative steps in the direction of the sound. Her mother-esque grip tightened like a lifeline, almost pulling her back. "Emma, please," Mrs. Thompson pleaded, her voice barely a whisper now. Torn, Emma faced her mother and saw that look of fear etched deeper into her features. "Mom, I need to know. We need to know what he meant." With hesitation weighing heavily in the air, Mrs. Thompson finally released a breath, not wholly convinced, but wanting to trust her daughter. The family burden was theirs alone to bear, and perhaps this was the time to finally lift some of that weight. "Okay. But we stay together," she said, resolute. Emma nodded, and they all moved toward the tree-line, the audacity of their curiosity mingling with dread. The trees loomed overhead, tall and ancient, like guardians of long-kept secrets. As they crossed into the underbrush, the dark enveloped them, the moon a mere sliver trying to break through the canopy. Branches crackled underfoot, and the air thickened with the scent of pine and earth, the atmosphere charged with the promise of revelation. "Can you hear that?" Emma asked, holding her breath, straining to listen. They paused, and amidst the silence, a faint voice echoed back almost a call. "I think someone is out there," Emma murmured, her heart pounding with hope and concern. "Or something," Sarah replied, unconsciously inching closer to Emma. As they rounded a large oak, the source of the noise emerged into view, a flickering light pinging through the branches. It seemed to pulse, a gentle beacon against the night. Emma's heart raced for a different reason now, an inexplicable mixture of fear and excitement surging through her. "Is that a campfire?" Mrs. Thompson asked, squinting into the distance. "Could be," Emma replied, the tension in her voice thickening. Intrigue tightened around her, filling her with a wild urge to race forward. But before she could even step another inch, her uncle spoke behind them. "We should be cautious. Whoever is there could be expecting us or might not want to be found." The warning hung in the air, and doubt crept in. Emma turned to him. "What do you know? Who could be out there?" "I can't say for certain," he replied, "but we didn't leave our past behind. The South still close by, waiting for the right moment." Emma felt torn as anticipation battled against caution. "But we came this far," she insisted. "We can't turn back now, can we?" Just then, the crackling fire erupted into a burst of light as if in acknowledgement of their arrival, drawing them in against their better judgment. The flicker danced enticingly, mingling with the chilly winds that whispered tales of old. "Let us see what secret is hiding just beyond those trees," Emma declared, her voice laced with defiance. As they moved toward the light, a faint laughter rang out, a sound that was both warm and chilling. It sent a chill cascading down Emma's spine. What awaited them was shrouded in mystery, and she felt the thrill of adventure coiling deep inside her again. "What if it's not just a fire?" Sarah whispered, hesitating again. Emma turned back to face her mother and uncle, determination reflected in her eyes. "Whatever it is, we need to face it together." They stepped closer, hearts racing, as laughter mingled with shadows. What truth lay ahead, echoing from the past? Emma knew they were on the brink of something monumental, and yet she wondered if they were truly ready to uncover it. Would the shadows hold salvation, or would they bring darkness? Emma felt a decision weighing heavily upon her heart as the laughter grew nearer. "Are you all ready?" Emma asked, breath hitching in anticipation. As the flickering light illuminated their path, They could feel the layers of their family's past begin to unravel before them. But the biggest question gnawed at Emma. Were they prepared to confront the reality waiting in the shadows? The world around them shifted as they approached the fire. The shadows seemed almost alive, twisting and twirling. It felt like they were being beckoned into the very heart of the mystery. Emma clutched her mother's hand tightly, a tether to the safety she craved, even as excitement bubbled up inside her. What if it's just a group of campers? Sarah whispered, her eyes darting about anxiously. But the laughter they heard sent tantalizing chills up Emma's spine, tugging at the corners of her imagination, demanding to be understood. Maybe, Emma replied, though her heart told her otherwise. Something far deeper was at play, something connected to her family, to her father, and to the very fabric of who she was. As they stepped into the clearing, the fire crackled and popped, filling the air with warmth. Faces flickered in and out of the light. People huddled closely, their eyes dancing with excitement. Emma could see their expressions animated with stories, filled with laughter that intertwined with the smoke curling into the night sky. What's going on? Emma breathed, overwhelmed by the sense of familiarity. She didn't recognize anyone, yet every fiber of her being felt a strange pull toward them. Her uncle halted, a soft yet heavy sigh escaping him. We shouldn't be here, they don't forget. What do you mean? The words slipped out before Emma could hold them back. But before he could answer, a woman turned, her eyes locking onto Emma's with an intensity that silenced the night. They've come, the woman said softly, tears glistening in the firelight. It's time. Time for what? Emma's heart raced. She exchanged a glance with Sarah, who seemed equally bewildered. Who are you? Emma asked, her voice trembling but fierce. The woman took a step closer, her features softening. You don't remember me now? But I was a friend of your father. We were close once, long before you were born. Emma's heart lurched as memories brushed against her consciousness. Memories that felt foreign yet familiar. Come, sit, the woman urged, gesturing toward the warmth of the fire. The others parted to make way as Emma, her mother, Sarah, and her uncle stepped into the circle. I remember the stories, the woman continued, her voice weaving magic and wonder. Stories of courage and love, but also of heartache. It's those tales that bind us. Your father was remarkable, Emma. You carry his spirit. Emma's breath hitched. The weight of her father's legacy pulsed through her, intertwining with the urgency in her heart. Tell me about him, she demanded, the force of her yearning wrapping around her emotions like a tight embrace. The woman's smile wavered, then she nodded. It's not just about remembering. It's about understanding the choices he faced and the ones you must face now. A chilling thought settled heavy in the air, mingling with the smoke. Emma stole a glance at her mother, whose expression showed the turmoil of emotions roiling within. Mrs. Thompson looked as if the ground might give way beneath her. Yet Emma sensed a flicker of hope behind her fear. Maybe there was still a chance to bridge the gaps that had haunted their family. What do I need to understand? Emma pressed, hunger for truth driving her forward, even as the laughter behind them faded to an eerie hush. And as if hearing her plea, the woman turned serious, her voice dropping to a whisper. The past isn't just something to leave behind, it has a voice. And it's calling you. The flames flickered, casting strange, dancing shadows across their anxious faces. Emma felt that uneasy truth wrap around her like the tendrils of smoke. Something was awakening. Something that had been buried too long. The woman's gaze grew intense, her eyes searching Emma's for understanding. You are the key to find out what's been lost. But it won't come without a cost. What cost? Before the woman could answer, the laughter erupted again, echoing through the trees with a sinister quality. Emma clutched her mother's hand tighter, the thrill of discovery laced with the deeper realization of danger. A truth was hovering on the edge of their grasp, one that could change everything. What have we stepped into? Emma thought as doubt mingled with hope. The shadows were not just beckoning them forward. They were warning them, too. Could they truly face whatever lay beyond the surface of this moment? The question weighed heavily in the air as the fire crackled ominously, and laughter trailed into silence once more. Emma's heart pounded in her chest, the firelight flickering against the forest's night shadows like a heartbeat, alive and electric. The woman before her, the stranger who knew her father, held something powerful in her gaze. The inexplicable mix of fear and curiosity surged within Emma, threatening to spill over. "Why does it feel so familiar?" Emma whispered more to herself than anyone else, feeling as if she was standing at the edge of a cliff, ready to dive into the depths of her past. "You have a journey ahead of you," the woman replied, her voice smooth and calming, yet echoing with weight. "But first you must face who you are." Emma's brow furrowed. "Who I am? What if I don't want to know?" "Knowing can be painful," the woman admitted, glancing around as if checking for unseen ears. "But it's also empowering. It's time to reclaim what your father left behind." "What did he leave behind?" Emma's voice trembled, but it was a mixture of dread and anticipation. The others in the circle shifted uncomfortably, the laughter replaced by a tense silence. As if sensing the shift in the air, the woman beckoned Emma closer. "Listen," she urged, leaning in slightly. "There is a tale woven through these woods. It's tied to your father and the choices that he made, a path he could not walk. And it's your destiny to finish what he started." Emma stole another glance at her mother. Mrs. Thompson's eyes shone with tears, but there was a warmth of recognition there, a flicker of a shared history that Emma could not quite grasp. "Mom, do you know what she is talking about?" Mrs. Thompson hesitated, her face a mask of concern. "Emma, just tell me." Emma interrupted, feeling a surge of desperation. "I'm tired of not knowing." The woman placed her hand gently on Emma's shoulder, grounding her. "You're not alone in this, dear. The stories of your family are all around you, hidden like the stars above this night. You just need to look closely." The flames danced higher, reflecting the urgency in Emma's heart. "But I don't even know where to start." "Sometimes all you need is the courage to seek answers," the woman whispered. "It begins with listening to the whispers of the past. Close your eyes, Emma. Trust me." Tentatively, Emma closed her eyes, her breathing slowing. She felt a cool breeze brushing against her skin, carrying the scent of pine and something sweetly familiar. In that moment, a soft, melodic whisper drifted through her consciousness, snippets of laughter, promises, and even warnings. It felt like fragments of lives intertwined, her father's laughter woven with her mother's love. "Focus, Emma," the woman urged gently, pulling Emma deeper into this dreamlike state. "Feel your father's presence." Overwhelmed with emotion, Emma concentrated on his laughter, the joy in the stories they'd whispered into the night when she was younger. Something stirred inside her, a blooming realization that threaded through her being. "I can't do this alone," she murmured, her own voice echoing back at her. "Indeed, you can't," came a deep voice from beyond the firelight. Emma's eyes flew open to find her uncle standing solemnly, his expression grave. "But you have to be willing to embrace the truth, no matter how hard it may be." Emma's heart sank. What truth? The shadows around them felt like they were alive, eager to entwine with the secrets lurking just beneath the surface. As the laughter erupted again, it morphed into something darker, haunting the edges of the light. Emma realized they were no longer just visitors to this gathering. They were interwoven into its very fabric. What if the truth is something I can't bear? Emma felt fear sipping into her resolve, threatening to splinter her heart. "Then you must find your courage, Emma," the woman encouraged, her voice unwavering, "because the answers you seek might change everything." Just then, a loud crack echoed through the clearing, like a gunshot or thunder. The fire shifted ominously, casting unexpected shadows that danced eerily across the faces of those gathered. Emma felt her pulse quicken in response to the change in atmosphere. "What just happened?" Sarah shrieked, her eyes wide with alarm. "Something is about to awaken," the woman warned, urgency lacing her words. Emma felt the world tilt below her. Secrets were rising towards the surface, and every heartbeat echoed the question. Were they truly ready to confront the shadows of their past? As the air thickened with ominous energy, The crackling fire illuminated another figure obscured in the dark. A man stepped forward, eyes gleaming with memories long buried and a history waiting to unfold. Emma's breath hitched as the man stepped closer, illuminated by the flickering flames. His rugged features were familiar, but it was the spark in his eyes that struck her. She could see traces of her father in him, the same spark that had lit the room when he left. "Who are you?" Emma asked, her voice wavering. The man smiled softly but with an air of sadness. "I am your father's brother," he said, his voice deep and resonant. "Your uncle, Jacob." A wave of disbelief washed over Emma. "But you disappeared. Why didn't anyone tell me? Why didn't my dad talk about you?" Jacob sighed, the weight of loss settling on his shoulders like a heavy cloak. "Your father had his reasons. He wanted to protect you from the darkness in our past. But now, it seems, it's your turn to face it." The forest held its breath, the shadows frozen as if waiting for her response. Emma's mind raced. Protect her? From what? She felt an urgency to understand, to dig deeper. Why is the past haunting us now? Why does it matter? Emma demanded, the knot in her stomach tightening. Because it shapes us, Jacob replied, stepping nearer, his expression firm yet pained. In our family, our choices ripple through time. What your father did, what he ran from, it all has led to this moment. You have the chance to discover the truth and reclaim what was lost. The words echoed in the silence, painting a picture of an unseen burden that had gripped her family. Emma looked to the woman, uncertain. What do I need to do? You must open yourself to the whispers, she said gently. The secrets and stories have a way of revealing themselves when you least expect it. As if on cue, the wind whipped through the trees, carrying with it a sound like distant laughter. But this time it was not just a memory. The laughter faded into a lament, a sorrowful note that rattled against the stillness. Your father was brave, Jacob continued, his eyes darkening with memory. He made choices that no one in our family was prepared to face. He buried the past deep, but you are one of the few who can bring it back to light. Emma was overwhelmed. The questions piled on her like fallen leaves, one on top of the other. How could she bring back something buried? Could she even understand the weight of her father's fears? I can't do this, she whispered, panic creeping back into her voice. You already are, the woman said, reaching for Emma's hand. Facing your fears is a form of courage. It's in you, it's in your blood. Look inside, feel what needs to be healed. You are not just reclaiming your father's past. You are confronting your own. The group around the fire held their breath, watching Emma. She glanced from her mother's glistening eyes to Jacob's steady gaze, and somehow, she felt a flicker of hope igniting within her. I want to know, Emma said resolutely, the words surprisingly strong. I want to uncover the truth. Suddenly, the fire crackled violently, sending sparks into the air. The shadows flickered, revealing names carved into the trees surrounding them. They felt ancient, tied to the land like roots. Emma squinted, her heart racing as she recognized a name that felt like a whisper from the very essence of her soul. Emma, Jacob said, his voice earnest, these names, these stories have consequences. It's time to listen fully, to delve into the history you never knew. As the names danced before her eyes, she realized that a family history she had never understood was now pulling her in, challenging her to confront the very essence of who she was. In that moment, her heart raced, not with fear but with an electric thrill. She could feel the awakening of something powerful within. But as she took a step closer toward the truth, a distant howl rose from the forest, a warning, perhaps. Emma hesitated, sensing that whatever awaited her could change everything. Are you ready? Jacob's solemn words pierced through the night, dragging her back into the gravity of her choice. Inhaling sharply, Emma knew one thing. The answer lay just beyond, and she was on the brink of something monumental. But could she truly embrace it, and what would the consequences be if she did? The howl hung in the air like a dark omen, chilling Emma to her core. She exchanged glances with her mother and uncle, both faces reflecting the weight of uncharted territory. Yet, Beneath the fear, a spark of bravery glinted in Emma's heart. This moment, standing at the edge of all she had known, felt alive. "It's time to dive in," Emma declared, her voice ringing strong amid the whispers of the encroaching night. She sensed a surge of energy flowing through her, intertwining with the roots of her family's past. "Whatever it is, I'm ready to face it together." The flames crackled, illuminating the determined faces around her, as if fueling a collective courage. Jacob stepped closer, nodding with pride that warmed Emma's chilled spirit. Mrs. Thompson, still holding her hand, gave a reassuring squeeze. With newfound resolve, Emma approached the circle around the fire, her heart racing yet grounded by the presence of those she loved. "What do we need to do?" she asked the woman who had been guiding them through this eerie terrain. "Listen and remember that every story holds a lesson," the woman said. "Your journey is not just about uncovering your past, but about healing and embracing the future." In that moment, Emma felt something shift within her. The names on the trees resonated like bells chiming in the stillness. They cried out for recognition, for understanding that stretched back across generations. She stepped to the nearest tree, fingers grazing the rough bark etched with family history. Her skin prickled with a familiar energy pulsing through the air, guiding her. One name caught her eye. Liam. Emma's heart dropped. It was her father's name, a connection to the very essence of her being. Suddenly, memories flooded back of laughter, of love, of moments shared before grief consumed their days. Tears welled in her eyes as fragments of joy battled against the lingering sadness. "Dad," she whispered, feeling the warmth of his spirit envelop her in that sacred space. "Your father left behind fragments of himself that you must piece together," Jacob encouraged, his voice steadying her thoughts. "What he chose to keep hidden is waiting for you to unearth it." Taking a deep breath, Emma steadied herself and closed her eyes once more. She focused on the whispers of those who walked before her. The forest, alive and vibrant, wrapped around her like a protective veil, urging her to dive deeper. But just as Emma began to focus, another howl echoed from the darkened woods, a warning that sent a shiver down her spine. "What if it's not safe?" she thought, fear prickling at the edges of her resolve. "It's okay to be scared," Mrs. Thompson murmured softly, sensing her unease. "It's natural. What matters is how you respond." With her heart racing, Emma opened her eyes to look at her family. They stood together, a powerful force bound by love and shared experiences. "I won't let fear hold me back," she stated, this newfound strength lighting up her being. "We're in this together." Steeling herself, Emma reached out and touched the name Liam etched into the tree. A warmth surged through her, sweeping away her trepidation, and allowing memories to wash over her like waves on a shore. Suddenly, she was no longer in the forest. Emma stood in her childhood home, the laughter of her father infusing the air, echoing in her mind. The walls seemed to pulse with life, recalling the happiness, the family dinners, and the love that permeated their days. But then, shadows danced across the walls, growing darker. She felt the weight of loss hanging like a heavy shroud. "Liam, please," Emma called into the void of her memory. "I need your guidance." "What did you fear?" A gust of wind swept through, swirling the whispers into a tempest around her. She cried out, "Show me." The memories began to coalesce, a mix of joy and sorrow, and with each vivid flash, pieces of his choices began to reveal themselves. She heard his voice, soft yet determined. "Keep the family close, Emma. Love conquers all." Emma felt a pang of realization. The struggles, the heartaches, they hadn't just been her father's burdens. They were reflections of their shared humanity. The shadows began to retreat, leaving light in their wake, illuminating the corners of her heart with an awakening understanding. Suddenly, she understood. Healing the past was not about erasing it, but rather embracing the lessons it held. As the visions faded, Emma stood again in the clearing, surrounded by her family and their stories. The laughter echoed back, weaving into something tangible, a promise of tomorrow. "Emma," Jacob said, his voice thick with emotion, "you have the gift to carry us all forward. Will you?" Absolutely, she affirmed. Looking at Mrs. Thompson, she nodded. We can face whatever lies ahead together. These stories matter. Tears streamed down Sarah's cheeks, a mix of relief and joy. You've made us proud, sweetheart, she whispered. The revelation felt tangible now. The warnings ebbed, lost in the unfolding connection of this moment. They were stepping into a newer story altogether, as a family. With that, the wind carried a newfound warmth, and the deep shadows of the forest brightened, signaling that maybe, just maybe, they could redefine their destiny. As they stood hugging one another, laughter erupted from the fire's edge, pulling them closer. Emma felt love surge through her, a balm soothing old wounds. She smiled through her tears, understanding that they would cherish their history while reaching for a brighter tomorrow. Let us uncover more stories, Emma suggested, emboldened by the sense of unity. There is so much more waiting for us. The night vibrated with laughter, illuminating their path. They were ready to embrace the journey unfolding before them, a legacy built on courage and hope. As they stepped into the forest, hand in hand, Emma felt the light shining down on them, a beacon of promise guiding them forward. They were no longer just a family lost in the shadows of the past. They were a force ready to redefine their future. Together. Don't wait not even one more second to share this journey with your friends. You need to subscribe immediately to join us for the next adventure. Leave a like right now to show your support to help us grow this community. Take a moment to comment below with your thoughts and feelings about this incredible journey. And don't forget to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Your support matters. It's a testament to the family we are building here.